joining us on a special occasion. Kind of bittersweet. We're going to say farewell to Team Harris, and then we're going to welcome the Tomlin family. But I've known Elliot and Regina, frankly, for several years. In a former life as a commandant, of course, Elliot was over in the basic training, did an outstanding job there. I'll talk about that in my remarks. And then I had the opportunity when I was at DCG for the 1st Infantry Division. I spent some time in Europe, and Elliot went on to be Vampire 07, which is the senior fires trainer at the Joint Multinational Readiness Center in Hohenfeld, Germany, a garden spot of the world. I'm being sarcastic. Yeah. But as the Deputy Commanding General for the 1st Infantry Division, I served as a senior trainer for several of the rotations out at JMRC, the 2nd Cavalry Regiment, the 173rd, and then the Devil Brigade from the 1st Infantry Division also rotated through there, which meant I got to spend about 3 consecutive months at the Sunrise Lodge, spending time with Elliot in the training area in the box. And so it was an honor for me to watch the way we trained our allies and our partners and U.S. forces who came in from all across Europe. And it was just amazing to see how much better not only the U.S. units were, but our allies and partners were when they finished those rotations there. And it was because of his hard work and dedication. And so fortunately, he came here to be our Army Capabilities Manager, has done an outstanding job. I'll talk more about that in my comments. But I did want to say, while I was there, I had the opportunity to speak at a St. Bart's ball for the Vampire team. And that's when I met Regina. And I don't even, it was somewhere in the, I don't know, what town was that in? It's been some,
what town?
Oh, town. Oh, in Nuremberg.
Oh, Nuremberg.
Yes.
You're familiar with that, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. But that's when I first met Regina, and just a sweetheart. I mean, she worked so hard to take care of that entire team. And I know she did that here when Elliot was a battalion commander. And she's done that throughout. And so we're going to present a few things to you in thanks for your hard work and dedication. The spouses always get more when they leave, but it's just our token and a way to say thank you. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to the MC here. So go ahead.
Attention to orders. The Meritorious Public Service Medal is being presented to Mrs. Regina Harris for extraordinary service to the Army Capability Manager Division, Air Defense Artillery from June 2022 to July 2024. Her actions are in keeping with the finest traditions of military service and reflect great credit on her, the Air Defense Artillery, the Fire Center of Excellence, and the United States Army. This 17th day of July, signed Winston P. Brooks, Major General, United States Army, commanding. The Order of the Red Legacy is being presented to Mrs. Regina Harris. With grateful appreciation for the impact you have made on the law in Fort Sill community, the Fire Center of Excellence, and the United States Army. Your kindness will be remembered and your legacy will endure as long as the Medicine Bluffs stand. Given under my hand the 17th day of July, 2024. Signed Winston P. Brooks, Major General, commanding. The Governor's commendation is hereby presented to Mrs. Regina Harris for your sacrifice as a distinguished military spouse as you stand alongside your service member and keep our military strong. Thank you for your dedication to this country as you empower your spouse and family members, ensuring that they have the necessary resources to serve their nation with honor. The 17th day of July, signed Kevin J. Stitt, Governor of Oklahoma.
I'm gonna do Elliot's, and then I'll give them both an opportunity to speak before we transition. Okay, so you know, this, and if Sergeant Major were here, he would tell you this, and $7.83 will get you a medium cup of coffee at the Riddick. But it's the least I can offer to say thanks for everything you've done for all of us. And I'll talk more about that in my remarks. But we're going to pin the medal on you. And so with that, I'll ask you to publish the orders.
Attention to orders. The Legion of Merit is being presented to Colonel Elliot R. Harris for exceptionally meritorious service as the Army Capability Manager for DeVarty Formation. His superb leadership, commitment to excellence, and devotion to duty are in keeping with the finest traditions of military service and reflect great credit on him, the Futures and Concepts Center, the Army Futures Command, and the United States Army. The 17th day of July, signed David M. Hodney, Lieutenant General, United States Army, Director of Futures and Concepts.
All right, I'm going to turn it over to Team Harris.
All right, sir, I'll keep my remarks short because I've got about a 20-minute speech. But no, I do thank everyone for being here. You know, this is a great team across the Lawton, Fort Sill area, to include, you know, our PMs and folks that came in from all over the country. So, you know, Regina and I thank you for your support over the last 2 years. If I could stay another 2 years, I would. They won't, you know, he won't let me. The Army won't let me. But I do appreciate everybody's support and look forward to the next chapter as we transition to training.
Oh no.
Ladies and gentlemen, the ceremony will begin in 5 minutes.
Good, how are you?
Ladies and gentlemen, this ceremony will begin momentarily. We ask that all photographers remain behind the first row of chairs, that all electronic devices are turned off or set to silent mode.
morning. How are you?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to today's Change of Charter ceremony for the Army Capability Manager for Division Artillery Formations. This morning, we say goodbye to Colonel Elliot Harris and welcome Colonel Gregory Tomlin. At this time, we'd like to extend a sincere welcome to our distinguished guests. Joining us this morning are Major General Phil Brooks, Commanding General, United States Army Fire Center of Excellence in Fort Sill, and his wife Lori. Mr. Joe Gallagher, Deputy to the Commanding General, United States Army Fire Center of Excellence in Fort Sill. Councilman Kelly Harris, Lawton City Council, Ward 2. Brigadier General Brian Werksler, Deputy Commanding General, Army National Guard, Field Artillery. Brigadier General Richard Holy, Deputy Commanding General, Army National Guard, Air Defense Artillery. And our Frontier friends, Colonel Retired Nate Slate and Mrs. Janie Billingsley. For the sequence of events, please refer to your program. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the invocation presented by Chaplain McCarley and remain standing for the playing of the National Anthem.
Please join me in prayer. Heavenly Father, with grateful and humble hearts, we assemble here this morning. Lord, we bow our heads to thank you for sustaining us in life, providing us liberty, and giving us the freedom that so many in this world do not know. Thank you for the provision you deliver in all things and for watching over us each day. Father, we come today to bid farewell to Colonel Elliot Harris, a leader who has served with honor and distinction. We thank you for his sacrifice, dedication, and commitment to our nation and the mission of our organization. Let blessings be showered upon him and his family in their future endeavors, and may his legacy spur us on to better things. I pray for guidance and protection as they embark on a new chapter in life, career, and marriage, and pray they find success and fulfillment in the journey. As we welcome Colonel Gregory Tomlin, may he lead with integrity, serve with honor, and guide with care. Grant blessings upon the soldiers he will lead, and give him the strength needed to shoulder the responsibilities that lie ahead. May his leadership be marked by compassion, courage, and unwavering commitment to his new duty. I ask you also bless him and his family as he takes command, and that they place their trust in your divine wisdom. May they be a beacon of hope and inspiration to all they lead. In the midst of this change, we ask for the strength and determination to overcome any challenges that may come our way. Grant our troops the resilience to face adversity head on, knowing that you're with them every step of the journey. As we transition, may we draw inspiration from the unwavering commitment of those who have gone before us. Keep our spirits high and our resolve unshaken. For in unity and determination, we will find victory. Amen.
Detachment. Attention. Present. Arm.
Please be seated.
Order. Arm. Parade. Rest.
At this time, Staff Sergeant Josie Johnson of the Fort Sill Artillery Half Section is presenting Mrs. Harris a bouquet of red roses. The color red is a sign of love from the soldiers and civilians of the Army Capability Manager for Division Artillery Formations team. In keeping with the Fort Sill tradition, Mrs. Harris is reciprocating with a gift for the fine horses and soldiers of the Fort Sill Artillery Half Section. Specialist Dennis Drennan of the Fort Sill Artillery Half Section is now presenting Mrs. Tomlin a bouquet of yellow roses. The yellow color is a sign of welcome, and the flowers are anticipation of things to come. Participating in today's ceremony are the Pride of Fort Sill, the 77th United States Army Band under the direction of Sergeant Aaron Atwood. The installation color guard is provided by the 30th Air Defense Artillery Brigade. The color sergeant is Sergeant First Class Rivera. The Fort Sill Salute Battery, Bravo Battery, 2nd Battalion, 2nd Field Artillery, under the direction of Captain Jada McCollum. The Honor Guard Commander for today's ceremony is Major John Graham, Assistant Army Capability Manager. The official party for today's ceremony is Major General Brooks, Colonel Harris, and Colonel Tomlin.
Detachment. Attention. Present. Arms.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the presentation of honors to Major General Brooks. Please be seated.
Order. Arms. Parade. Rest.
The Change of Charter is a simple event that is rich with tradition, symbolism, and heritage. The Charter is the capability manager, symbol of authority, representing his responsibilities to the organization. The Charter reads, I hereby appoint Colonel Gregory Tomlin as the Army Capability Manager for Division Artillery Formations. The Army Capability Manager Division Artillery Formations, by means of this charter, is hereby delegated a full line authority for the centralized management of assigned responsibilities. Ladies and gentlemen, Major General Phil Brooks.
Wow. I don't know who planned the weather today, but thanks, Chaplain, for an extra shout out. I appreciate that. I am going to have the color guard go in and see the colors for just a minute. So go ahead. All right. Hey, good morning, fellow general officers, our frontier friends, members of the Lawton City Council are here. Family and friends of Team Lawton Fort Sill, thanks for attending this morning's ceremony. Before I begin, though, let's take a moment and recognize the Fort Sill Field Artillery Half Section, the 77th Army Band, our Salute Battery, and the Color Guard here today. So, hey, well, first I'd like to welcome the Tomlin family and Greg, who's here with his wife Elizabeth and son George. It was great meeting them earlier. Greg comes from a military family. His father, Colonel Retired Harry Tomlin, was a 30-year Red Leg, and his grandfather served during World War II, and I'll talk a little about him in just a minute. But I'd also like to welcome Team Harris, and Elliot is joined today by his wife Regina and son Quentin. And then traveling in from the Tar Heel State of North Carolina and his parents, Randy and Susan, and of course his niece Riley. They've been here several times. Even Riley's been here a few times. So welcome back to all of you. But Elliot, you've been instrumental to the branch. Whether you're training back-to-back rotations at the Joint Multinational Readiness Center with the Allies and Partners as Vampire 7, or previous to that when you were training our basic trainees right here at Fort Sill, you've excelled. It's no small task to manage an Army portfolio, and I honestly don't know a better way to say it. But it truly is a Herculean effort in what our Army Capability Manager teams do here at Fort Sill as we continue to deliver the Army of 2030 and design the Army of 2040. We rely heavily on our ACMs to identify, structure, and guide an incredibly complex portfolio of advanced warfighting technologies and equipment. All of those are vital to large-scale combat operations. And this position is now different. It takes a team of highly skilled technical experts and leaders to guide and inform those processes to fruition. You had multiple bosses, require you to remain flexible, adaptable, and responsive to any number of changing requirements. And Elliot has a reputation for being the cannon subject matter expert in the U.S. Army. Of course, I understand why, based on our experiences together. You've set the conditions for multiple key advancements, which Greg will have the responsibility to take out across the finish line. Firstly, the cannon modernization strategy that will guide the development of cannon fires and munitions from now until 2040 and beyond. A phenomenal effort by Elliot and his team in establishing this vision for cannon fires. Additional efforts are the continued M109A7 Paladin fielding, innovating at the round initiatives, and upgrading our survey capabilities into the 21st century. Elliot, over the last 2 years, you have led our team with distinction. You've internalized the proponent's guidance, nested with the Army's modernization priorities, and drove the dividends of your portfolio to those ends. Evolving and advancing technology is important, and you too can rest assured that you did your part to provide our warfighters of both today and tomorrow with the best capability available. Thanks to you, Regina, and the family for your dedication and tireless efforts over the last 2 years. And I wish you all the best as you transition to Fort Eustis, Virginia, to work for General Brito as the director of his commander's planning group. Now, Colonel Greg Tomlin comes to us highly qualified as well with another resume that speaks for itself. Greg just left the War College, the Eisenhower School, where he was a distinguished graduate. He has already earned his PhD from George Washington University. And a little known fact about Greg's family history, I mentioned his grandfather served in World War II, but to expand, he not only stormed Omaha Beach, he also received his battlefield commission during the Battle of the Bulge. So, congratulations. Your litany of operational training-based assignments has made you the perfect pick for this critical mission going forward. And here at Fort Sill, we have 5 key priorities, and you will be heavily focused on 2 of those. Number 1, warfighting. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. We're seeing a resurgence of fires over maneuver. And you must be able to fight and win through the rapid employment of responsive, cross-domain fires in complex, large-scale combat operations. And Greg, your expertise will help us do that. And number 2, continuous transformation. The Army is in the thick of transforming in contact. So I urge you to continue to build the fires force through the development of weapons platforms with next-generation technology that enables the United States Forces freedom of maneuver through fires overmatched. Greg, I'll tell you the same thing that I told some of your fellow brigade commanders here that just took command. My charge to you is simple. Take care of the soldiers, civilians, and the family members in your charge, and pursue excellence in the priorities I just mentioned. In closing, I'll go with Fires 50, number 36 today. And it says, don't let analysis cause paralysis. We are moving fast here at the Fire Center, and we need to continue to transform in contact to keep pace with the future of warfare. Again, welcome to Colonel Tomlin and his family to your new role, and see you again soon to the Harris family. This will defend, be all you can be, fire strong. Thanks for coming today.
Ladies and gentlemen, Colonel Elliot Harris.
All right, I was just joking about 20 minutes, but good morning, everyone, especially Major General Brooks, other distinguished guests that have already been identified. Thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to attend today's ceremony. It truly means the world to the Acom Devarty team and our family and Greg's family to see everyone out here. You know, time flies when you're having fun. And 2 years ago, it seems like a memory. Out on the OPQ, when I joined the CDID and the Acom Devarty team. The last 2 years have been memorable, and we've accomplished a lot, as John Brooks mentioned, in support of delivering modernization capabilities to our fellow artillery soldiers and formations to ensure that they have overmatch against any adversary on any battlefield. I'd like to thank Lieutenant General Hodney, Major General Brooks, Brigadier General Morgan, and Brigadier General Francis, and all other key leaders here that have provided guidance and mentorship to me over the last 2 years. It's been invaluable to allowing us to shape the fire's portfolio. All the points that Major General Brooks mentioned that the ACM accomplished, those were not my accomplishments. Those were the accomplishments of a brilliant and talented team, made up of officers, non-commissioned officers, VA civilians, and contractors. You're the reason we were successful, and you're the reason that we were able to achieve everything we did. Can we give a round of applause? And most of them are standing in the back. There's plenty of seats. Grab a seat, guys, because we might be here for a minute. Let's give a round of applause. Again, these are your accomplishments, not mine. I want to personally thank the Acom team. To my deputies, Will Field, John Yeager, and Jim Ackerman, thank you for the sage advice and counsel that you provided. You kept me out of trouble, and you led the team expertly in my absence. To my majors, John Graham, Chad Evans, DJ, Jimmy Camden, and Justin T. You rode hard and accomplished a lot. The Acom is better because of your efforts. To the captains, Rick Squared, Rick Swinson, and Rick Alexis, you picked up where the majors left off, and you continue to excel. I'm proud of what you've accomplished and look forward to seeing what you continue to do. Our talented team of non-commissioned officers led by Sergeant Benvento, Dabney, Chambers, Moody, Nunes, Green, Schubert, Standard, and Brantley provided the right level of subject matter expertise that allowed us to ensure that we were successful and ensure that we were delivering the right capabilities to our soldiers. And last but not least, the talented contractors. You filled many gaps and provided continuity in support of the myriad of efforts that we were working across the Acom. Dan, Steve, Will, Marty, Benny, Corey, Darius, Nick, Lee, and Kevin, and of course you, Brandon. I saved you for last. Brandon, I've enjoyed our conversations and look forward to continuing those about what we've got to do to continue to enhance and modernize our cannon artillery. But over the past 2 years, you've all embodied the "this is my squad" mentality. You've been a part of the team, you've picked each other up, you've helped me, and we've all worked together to accomplish the mission. And I know that you will continue to take care of each other and take care of Colonel Tomlin and provide him the same advice, counsel, and expertise that you provided me. To the seated leadership, Matt and Matt, thank you for your confidence in me and the autonomy with which you let me operate. There were times where I was worried that I was doing the wrong things, but you didn't yell at me and you didn't pull me into your office and tell me I was doing the wrong thing. So I appreciate the trust that you had in me and look forward to seeing how you continue to shape the Army in the future. The CDID is a truly talented and tremendous team that continues to work across to advance the modernization of the fire's portfolio. From Sean and Craig and the concepts to Bert and Woody in Battle Lab, John in requirements, and Blake in the integration cell, this team really comes together to deliver fire's capability. It's a well-oiled machine, and I thank you all for the past 2 years of support that you've provided to the Acom. Fire's 5045 states, "Life is better with great teammates." I've been blessed to work alongside extremely talented teammates and friends. To my fellow Acoms, Mike, Kurt, John, Scott, Sean, Curran, and Al Redford, of course, There he is. Thanks for not stealing all my money, and thanks for not taking all the limelight. But Al, thank you for your friendship. Thank you to all the actors for their friendship. At no point did I feel like we were competing. We were all part of a team, all working to advance the Fires portfolio. Al, I'm excited to see where you take the CDID in the future, and know that you will have a great team of ACCMs that will continue to support you. Two other groups of individuals that have been instrumental to the success of the ACCM are the program managers that work alongside of us to deliver capabilities to the warfighter. Freeman, Chris, Aaron, Joe, and Leon, thank you for your continued support. Your efforts to deliver cost, schedule, and performance, and focus on delivering the best material capability to our soldiers and formations has been a tremendous success. Thank you for what you've done and for what you're going to continue to do. But program managers and ACCMs can't do it all on their own. We need industry partners to be able to do that. And we have a number represented today. I'm not going to name you all, but I do want to thank you for your friendship, your advice, and your counsel. You helped me see what was in the realm of possible. You helped me see what you could accomplish, and that's what I took back to our PMs to challenge them to help continue to improve and modernize our field artillery formations. So thank you to each of the industry partners. Again, this is a triad between the ACCM, the PMs, and industry, and couldn't do it without each one of you. A special thank you to our extended family in the Lawton Fort Sill area: Chris, John, Star, Ole, Adam, Carmelo, along with Mayor Scott Brown and Councilman Kelly Harris. You and your families have made this a truly special place, and your friendship has been invaluable. Thank you all, and I look forward to continuing our friendship as we move to Virginia and hosting you all soon in Virginia. Lastly, I want to thank my wife and family. Virginia, your support and encouragement has always been the rock that allows me to do what I do. And you've always handled everything at home without fail, despite multiple TDYs and events that have taken me away from the house, while working full-time and taking care of the entire family. When I was gone, I was never worried about a thing because you were running the show back home. So thank you for your continued support, and I can't think of a better partner to have shared this journey with over the last 2 years and continue our Army journey. Greg, lastly, you have a great team. They will provide you the right advice, and they will definitely take care of you. I look forward to seeing how you and Elizabeth take the ACCM to new heights and continue to focus on modernization. We've got a lot to still do. We've got to deliver a new modernized howitzer and continue to innovate at the round. And I know that you're the right person to do that. Stealing a line from Gerald Morgan, there's never been a more relevant or exciting time to be a Red Lake. The future of fire starts here. King of Battle.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Army Capabilities Manager for Division Artillery Formations, Colonel Gregory Tomlin.
Major General Brooks, distinguished guests and friends of Party ACCM, thank you for joining us this morning for this ceremony. 3 years ago this week, I stepped off a parade field at JBLM after relinquishing battalion command. That morning, Mount Rainier was visible, much like Mount Scott is for us today. And what I didn't realize at the time is I was stepping into a 3-year fellowship that was preparing me for this specific job. It wasn't a program of record, nor was it planned. You see, there's no formal ACCM school as there is for a program manager or contracting officer. For the past 3 years in DC, I was allowed to meet many of you and understand your organization's needs and priorities in advance of this ceremony. As the Fires Threat Integration Staff Officer in Army G2, I work with threat managers like Jeff Falkenbush here at Fort Sill to assess the acquisition intelligence critical to more realistic testing operations. And I also met with program managers that said that we must consider costs and production schedules, not just threats, and that at times it may be prudent to assume some risk in fielding certain systems to the force before the threat can be replicated in testing. In the Army G357, as the Chief of Army Readiness, my division pulled the 5,200 USR reports every month that commanders wrote to compile the total Army Readiness Review for the Secretary and the CSA. And we sat in deep and sometimes intense conversations with Army senior leaders who had to weigh the impact of sacrificing investments in future readiness to respond to unanticipated global demands today. On my last day in the building, Lieutenant General Matlock told me that when it comes to .mil PF integration, no detail is too small. I will follow his guidance as an acronym. Pressure on personnel strength, equipment availability, and funding streams will remain foundational concerns when we prioritize future modernization efforts for priority formations. And 1 month ago today at Fort McNair, I graduated from the Eisenhower School for National Security and Resource Strategy. For that academic year, I sat in classrooms of acquisition and contracting officers, interagency partners, and industry fellows. I spoke candidly with senior members of the Biden administration and corporate executives, and we heard their views on where the future of the defense industrial base would be. Standing here now in front of McNair Hall, I am grateful for that initial exposure to the intricacies of the J6 process, the limitations of surging industrial mobilization, and how global supply chain vulnerabilities impact fielding schedules and create long lead times for critical components. Major General Rafferty, the former LRPF CFT director, encouraged me to build a big tent as an acronym, and I look forward to inviting program and threat managers, industry representatives, and colleagues from across the fire seated, Schoolhouse, FCO, and FCC into one big authority acronym tent. I hope that we can keep our communications flat, work collaboratively to resolve our differences when they arise, and never forget that every effort made through the acquisition and procurement process must benefit the American soldier tomorrow, in 2030, and in 2040. For the small but mighty Vardy Akin, our charter remains the same. We are charged with maintaining and modernizing the cannon fleet and munitions of the U.S. Army Field Artillery. When we're told that there will be funding decrements or the need to select one program over another, we must clearly articulate the risks associated with each feasible alternative so that Army senior leaders, beginning with General Brooks, can make the best decision for our warfighters. Thank you, Elliot, for your leadership as the director for the past 2 years, allowing me to climb onto a well-oiled train already in motion. You reached out months in advance to integrate me into your organization, and I sincerely appreciate your candor and time over the past 2 weeks. I would also like to thank Major John Graham for your work behind the scenes to coordinate my transition period, as well as today's ceremony. An active is one of the few CSL jobs that does not come with a command sergeant major. However, I have been issued an acronym, James, one each. Jim, I will seek your counsel on how best to develop our NCOs, and I look forward to collaborating with you on all the dynamic topics within our Divardi portfolio. Finally, I must thank Elizabeth for uprooting once again to join me on this Army adventure. As we escape the literal hazards of Beltway traffic, I look forward to exploring this new region with you and George, and Patrick and Hannah when they return home to visit. Once again, thank all of you for attending, for your warm welcome over the past 17 days here at Fort Sill, and the collaboration that lies ahead.
Detachment. Attention.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the playing of the Army song and remain standing for the retiring of the colors. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's ceremony. Colonel and Mrs. Harris will receive farewells in front of the seating area. Please join Colonel and Mrs. Tomlin for a reception at the Patriot Club Artillery Room, where you may offer them congratulations. Thank you for joining us on this historic occasion. Fire strong, people first, winning matters, be all you can be.